Coming up next on Walk the Plank, I'm going to take you to Steel City Con, held in Monroeville, PA, where we'll discuss some of the vendors, celebrities you might have missed out on. I'll talk with series creator Eric Sprouse about tonight's newest episode of Dead and Buried Treasures, give you a sneak peek at tonight's movie starring Jack Palance, and we answer your Facebook questions. All that and more coming up next. Welcome to Walk the Plank, the Dead and Buried Treasures pre-show. I'm your host, Rich Kanji, and the gentleman wearing the Chiller Theater shirt and drinking out of his awesome Steel City mug is the series creator, Eric Sprouse.
How you doing tonight, Rich?
Excellent. And we just came back from Steel City itself, which this episode will be partly about. So, getting right into Steel City, since you have the mug and you're just segueing us right into this as we go.
I feel like I'm a model for Steel City. Yeah, they're our sponsor tonight. It was a good time having them on board.
And it was a good time there. For those who didn't make it and live in the Pittsburgh area or don't know anything about it, Steel City Con is located in Monroeville, in the Monroeville Convention Center.
Yep.
They're also located, and if you're wondering, Monroeville, why does that sound familiar? They're located right before Monroeville Mall, which, as you know, Monroeville Mall was the location for the George Romero sequel, Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Which was my personal favorite of them because I grew up in Monroeville. So growing up in Monroeville Mall. What's that?
Was it really? That was your favorite?
It was my favorite, just because I recognize everything that happened in Monroeville Mall. So to have something filmed in a location that was very much my childhood, growing up in the arcade and eating in the restaurants, my parents would take us. Seeing all that there, that was my childhood. That's some of my best memories. So that was my favorite movie of all.
Yeah. Are you talking about the original Dawn of the Dead in like 78? Or are you talking about 2004 Dawn of the Dead?
No, the original Dawn of the Dead. Now, the remake Dawn of the Dead, didn't you work on that?
I did. And I worked on 3 of the Living Dead movies. I worked on the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead, where they changed out the end, and Tom Savini directed it. And that was a lot of fun because I was very, very young. I was in college when they did that. And I worked on the 2004 Dawn of the Dead remake, where we ran. And I was like, nobody told me about that. I went to zombie school for nothing. And then my favorite that I worked on was Diary of the Dead, because I just thought that was the scariest. I'll never forget the 2004 Dawn of the Dead when the child comes in the bedroom in the morning. I thought that was the scariest scene because you know what's coming. Yeah. It was so suspenseful, and the doorknob and everything was out of focus. I loved that. But my favorite to work on was Diary of the Dead. I was particularly proud of that one because it was just well done, well crafted, and it was about movie makers in the woods. And I've done that so many times. I felt like I was, while we worked on it, it was like I felt like it's part of the world that I lived in was under attack. So it was really scary. I loved those 3.
Yeah, those are very good.
Right.
So that's where we were. We were right there in Zombie Central itself, Monroeville.
Yep.
And if you have missed out on this Steel City Con, which happened August 13th through the 15th.
Mhm.
Don't worry, they come back. It's usually every 3-4 months. So they will be
Yeah.
back sometime probably in December,
Yeah.
which we'll have a guest list for that. But you can go to steelcitycon.com and check that out. But as far as the guest lists for this show, wow. I mean, you had so many horror icons there, not to mention, other icons, but Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, Doug Bradley. Then you had John Berthel, Carl Weathers. You had John Russo and Russ Strainer from the original Night of the Living Dead. They were there. And you've met John Russo several times.
Yeah, it was nice to see John again. I had met him. I feel like I talk about it like we're card playing buddies, but we're not. I mean, I knew John because I'd worked with him on Night of the Living Dead and saw him around for Dawn of the Dead, even Diary when George was still around. George Romero was still around and we shot there. So I saw him out at Steel City Con, and it was nice to catch up with him. And his new book is coming out, and he was ill, and he actually got a lot better. It wasn't COVID or anything related, but it was nice. We all get older, and he was just not feeling up to it. But then he was recovering real nice. It was nice to see him again. And so, I love going out to Steel City Con. It's so much fun. You get to meet fellow pop culture nerds like ourselves, and you get to just kind of hang out with the crowd. It was so much fun. I have a great time going every year.
Yeah, I do too. So they have so many guests there. I mean, everybody. They had a good bit of the cast from The Warriors, the old movie from, what was it, in the 70s?
Oh, yeah. It was an older film. Yeah. Maybe early 80s, mid 80s.
Yeah. They were there. So they try to get a lot of cast members from films so that you can get a group photo with everybody. They do try to do that for you, which is really nice. They've done that with Scream. They've had several actors from Scream that you can get a big group photo.
Yeah, in fact, it's funny you say that because I have that in my den from the last time when I got a chance to meet Nev Campbell.
There you go.
Some of the cast members there. So we have a lot. The whole Steel City Con experience is so much fun because you get to meet your childhood, heroes and even people you admire in different movies. So it's a good time. Really is.
And not only that, you have the vendors. The vendors there are amazing because a lot of them, sometimes you'll get the same vendors, so you'll recognize them right away in their shops. You have a guy that does props. He'll do different movie props like FBI badges from the X-Files, stuff like that. Heroes and Comics was there. He's a local guy. You'll have a couple local vendors. In toys of all genres, you have horror. You have the old 80s toys, He-Man, Transformers.
Right.
But really, there's so much there. And vendors that sell food. You have some people that are making fresh fudge and root beer, homemade root beer, like all kind of flavors of that. So
yeah, in fact, that's where I got this from at Wild Bill's.
So there's a lot to do there. And if you've missed out this time around, that's okay. Just go to their website, check them out on Facebook, and you'll be able to see the next lineup of guests. They'll have some amazing guests, no doubt about it. They have a great lineup of guests every year. And that should be rolling around here. Like I said, probably December, I would have to guess, because it's usually the next con is in December.
Right.
So hopefully one of these cons, will we see Captain Calico Drake sitting there at a booth?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do that. We've had a lot of requests on the show through viewers and whatnot, asking if we're ever going to have a booth there. And, we really want to, but I get so tied up in shooting the show and editing the show, putting it all together. And the 3 shows that we keep on the air for the whole Dead and Buried Treasures realm, that I always forget about that. I can't remember. It was so we had to do the Halloween parade last year, and just finding time to do that was just like, ugh. But it really is a nice payoff when we have time to do it. So hopefully, fingers crossed. Now the world seems to be, I want to say, going back a little bit back to normal. We're allowing us to breathe. Maybe we can open up a booth there sometime.
Well, speaking of Dead and Buried Treasures, wow, what is going on? Like, we have villains popping up left and right. towards the end of the last episode, my mind was blown with the new villains showing up. So I know there's going to be some more stuff going on with them, hopefully, in this episode. But
it's really kind of funny. It's really kind of funny because you said to me after you watched the last episode, you said, "Oh man, my mind was blown." It was like watching an episode of Batman with the
really was.
The rogues gallery of villains. I'm like, if you thought your mind was blown last time, wait till you see the cliffhanger tonight. It's really going to be something to remember. And I think I'm going to get a lot of phone calls on it because they're going to be like, what the? Wow, that was amazing. But, nothing. It's kind of like Leonard Nimoy said on Star Trek. He says, nobody ever really, how did he say it? Nobody ever really dies in science fiction. He said that like years and years and years ago. So I can always say nothing is as it ever appears to be on Dead and Buried Treasures. It's something, it's kind of neat because we have double agents that are about to happen, and we have a battle that's around the corner, and we have all kinds of fun things that's about to happen. And we put a lot of care into the show. I mean, obviously. And so the best is yet to come.
Yeah, and speaking of me knowing some stuff, we were just talking the other night because I was sitting here geeking out about these villains, and it does feel like an episode of Batman from with the rogues and stuff like that. And I said, I love these villains coming up, and I want to see more of them. And you said, you wait till this next episode. Your mind's gonna be blown with what's gonna happen. You're like, do you want to know? And I'm like, no, don't tell me.
I know. I remember I said, you want like a little spoiler? No. And I thought you were gonna hang up on me.
No. Yeah, because I'm like, I want to be surprised. I want to be surprised. So I think tonight's ending is going to be, you're just going to go, ooh, like that. It's a lot of fun what we do. So without giving away too many spoilers, what is tonight's episode about? Are you tackling Steel City Con? Because you always tend to tie in various things of the movie or sponsors with what you're doing on the show. Yeah, we kind of tie in with Steel City Con. Tonight's episode is the movie is Man in the Attic. We've been promising that for a year, maybe 2 years. It's about it takes place in the 1880s, and a woman who is actually played by, I don't know her name in real life, Aunt B on the old Andy Griffith Show, has a boarding home, and she rents a room to someone that she believes just might be Jack the Ripper. And so she's trying to solve the crime or solve the mystery if it is Jack the Ripper. And that's what the movie's about. It's good. It's a good one. And so to tie in Steel City Con, I thought that the Jack the Ripper movie tonight was all about identity theft, because you're really not sure if it is him. You're really not sure if it's not. So it's about his identity. So I said, let's do an episode about identity theft. So it's a standalone tonight until the end. The cliffhanger is mythology based for us, with the villains and stuff like that. But so somebody's stealing Captain Drake's identity, and we don't know who it is. And then he tracks it down to Steel City Con, where they're having the convention, and he gets the idea of kidnapping William Shatner. So that's great. And, well, William Shatner was at the last Steel City Con, and I had a chance to meet him. He's just the nicest guy in the world. He's like 90 years old, and I hope I have a fraction of the energy that William Shatner has when I turn 90. And so he gets the idea, Calico Drake, of talking to Professor Gertie and kidnapping William Shatner and holding him for ransom. And that's what the plan is on the show. That's great. I can't wait to see it. It'll be fun.
Can't get out of this if he's human. I'm afraid he isn't human, sir. Not until what he did to that girl.
Young women, alluring women, hunted down by that relentless fiend whose scarlet page in the history of crime is signed Jack the Ripper.
Don't come up here.
He shocked you as the gunslinger in Shane. He won an Academy nomination for his gripping performance in Sudden Fear. Now, Jack Palance gives you his most electrifying performance as the Man in the Attic.
Your police methods will never trap the one you call Jack the Ripper.
Drawn back from his mysterious errands in the night by the fascination of the girl downstairs.
You're mocking me! Same as my mother. Same as all of them. Mocking love, living for lust. You are evil.
That looks great. I'm excited. Jack Palance, let's do it. You know, I'm ready. So, your favorite part of this, where we put you on the spot, we hit you up with some of these Facebook questions. So we're going to get through a couple of these before we run out of time.
I do like the questions from the social media people, and I love it. It's fun.
Yeah. So we're going to go to Dallas Pike, PA. Care Snyder.
Right down the road.
Yeah, right down the pike.
Yep.
Where she asks, I was watching The Terror, or where you work the Whiskey Rebellion. I've heard about the rebellion, but I've never went until I've watched your show. It was a good time. Did I hear that you're planning on doing some kind of ghost tour with them in Halloween? If so, count me in. I live in Washington, and I've done ghost tours before. That would be pretty spooky indeed.
Yeah, we had a chance to, in the last episode, our sponsor was the Whiskey Rebellion in Washington, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And we didn't get a chance. We did the whole episode based on that, but then we started talking with some of the people, the organizers of the event, and they're interested in having Calico Drake make an appearance. They do ghost tours. There's a lot of history in this area in southwestern Pennsylvania because it was born, obviously General Washington, George Washington came through here. Fort Necessity is right down the road. There's a lot of older 1700s like history here. And so some of the ghost tours that they do in the area is much like Williamsburg or much like the ones they do in Philadelphia. And Calico Drake may host one in Washington for Halloween. So we'll keep you apprised on that one. That'll be a lot of fun to do it. So that rumor is true.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Here we go. We're going to Monroeville, PA, just where we came from. Mm-hmm. Stephanie Stewart asks, a little birdie told me that Captain Calico Drake is planning on kidnapping William Shatner at Steel City Con this year. Is this true? Well, you already answered that. It is true.
It is true.
Happening tonight.
Yeah, we actually Calico Drake is actually planning on kidnapping William Shatner. So we'll leave it there. That's
coming up.
So that's true. That's true too. Yeah.
Good question. Good timing.
How did she find out about that?
I didn't tell her. Well, yeah, I didn't tell her. We must have a mole.
Man, our viewers are resourceful.
It's true. So we're going to Los Angeles, California for this one. Greg Hannawalt says, "Ahoy, Captain! Big fan of your show. Ahoy! Yeah, you do the voice better than me.
Avast! Nice to see you. What can we do?"
He's a big fan of the show. I watch all your reruns as well as your new stuff. Do you only produce one episode a month? If so, good. I can understand why. But you're really out of Pittsburgh? Your show is so good. I thought it was on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, yeah. We do one a month. Sometimes maybe one every month and a half. It takes a long time to produce this show. That's a nice compliment. Thank you for that, because they gave us the 2020 CMA award last year. And in fact, I have it back here. This is it. For the best show produced in Pittsburgh, and it was really nice that they gave us. I didn't even know it was coming when they did it, but it takes a lot of work to produce this show. Well, you know how it goes with Just Walk the Plank, Rich. It's, you know, you can't say you're a one-man band, but like chroma keying, it's so many effect shots. Every single shot we do on the show is an effect shot. So it's either green screened or robotic animatronics with Jack or Davy Bones or the villains with costuming. And so, yeah, it is a long process, and it takes a long background to do. So, yeah, I appreciate the kind words, though. I like to think it's, if you say sci-fi quality, that's kind of nice, because we'd like to maybe do something like that on Sci-Fi one day. So we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that question. So we're heading to Ontario, Canada. Boy, you stretch all the way out to Canada.
Wow. Well, it's got to be Facebook they're watching this on, right?
Yeah. Facebook or YouTube, yeah.
Yep.
Peter Romanoff asks, I love your cliffhangers with the villains. So do I. And I can clearly see it's leading to something very soon. Whatever happened to Captain Walter Time from the anniversary show when you hosted Horror Express? Keep up the great work, Captain, and sign me up long term for part of your crew.
Arr, I'll take you up on that. It's so funny that you brought up Captain Walter Time, because he kind of makes a return in this episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah, that's a bit of a spoiler for you. So he does kind of make a return in this one. I don't want to say anymore, because Rich is sitting there going, please be quiet.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it here in about 5 minutes. I'm getting off here to watch.
Yeah, so Time makes an appearance. He comes back. And I can't say anymore, but he does come back in the show tonight. Yeah, so it's he makes an appearance.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. You just gave me a spoiler.
It's so funny. I'm trying to balance my words. You know, it's like I want to say this, but I can't say this. I finally found like what Chris Carter had lived through when he did the X-Files. You have to talk in riddles and mystery.
Yes. All right, so we got one more. We're going to get through this really quick. So you got to answer this one quick, because
okay.
We have one other thing to get through. All right, so Rick Pennywinkle from New Orleans, Louisiana, he says, "Hi, Cap. Permission to come aboard."
Permission granted.
I saw you talking about this on your after show, The Pirate's Booty. Just to let you know, as a technical guru and a member of Geek Squad at Best Buy, the figures in the chat room on your Facebook page are not accurate. Or are not accurate. You are correct about this. It only signifies how many people are active in the chat. See, I didn't know that. It's so misleading. I bet there are more people watching than just the people that like to talk. Now, is that correct? And I would like to know that too, because yes, I've been on there and I see there be 3, 4, 5 people and it shows maybe in the chat or watching. But then after it airs, you look and it's like, oh my God, you had like 600 people watching this thing right after, So how does that add up?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the way that YouTube and Facebook do business on that, because they'll have, like, if you watch our show on Facebook, for example, it'll say a little up here, it'll say premiere in a red block, and next to it has like 3. And you're thinking, there's only 3 people watching.
Right. That's what I thought.
That's misleading. That's not true. That's how many people are active in the chat room only. So that's how many people are sitting at their laptop wanting to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. I get the analytics back on it, and I actually found out that every episode we get more and more and more. Just the one where we hosted The Terror with Jack Nicholson and Boris Karloff, we had over 2,000 viewers at one time. The analytics were different. So even though it had like a little 2 right there, I wish it gave how many viewers were watching.
Right.
The true analytics or the true ratings, but it can't. It goes by people active in the chat room. So if you're watching on Facebook or something like that, there's not 2 people watching. There's only 2 people active in the chat room. But I guarantee you there are thousands watching the show, because I've gotten the analytics back on that. So
9 times out of 10, one of those two people in the chat might be me, because I try to watch some of the premieres, or if it's on Facebook when it first airs. I don't really get to catch all the reruns that are airing on Facebook as a live stream. But
yeah,
the
it's
new
misleading out there, and I hate that. I wish they would put, but Facebook is in the business to bring people closer together, so they want to talk about the chat room more than anything else. They don't care about how many people are actually watching the show, as there are people active on Facebook page communicating. So I get what they're doing, but it's misleading for people who are premiering videos like that.
Yeah, it is. Well, that was a good question, because I wondered that myself.
Yeah. So
thank you for the questions that you wrote in. We do have one other.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We also appreciate some of the other comments that come in, and I want to tie this into the show. So since we're running out of time, I'm going to run this as the credits roll. So we're going to hit up some mean tweets, as they like to call that, on YouTube and whatnot, where you, Mr. Eric Sprouse, Calico Drake himself, has received some mean tweets, but they are hilarious. When you read these,
this is Rich's favorite part of the show, by the way. Yeah, this is Rich's favorite part of the show, by the way. Yeah,
it really is, and you're going to see why, because some of these are just
actual mean tweets.
Yeah, so that's coming up. So we're gonna leave you with that. So, with that being said, we're gonna get to this movie, because I need to watch this now. I need to see what's going on.
And it'll be a lot of fun tonight. It'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how it turns out tonight. And I'll see everybody else later tonight on the Pirates Booty, our after show.
That's right. And be sure, if you're watching this on Facebook, hit us up in the chat. Usually, you're there, almost always there, and I try to get in there too. So, join the chat. Be active. So here we go. Finally, after all this time, I'm waiting. Let's get to this episode of Dead and Buried Treasures and The Man in the Attic.
See you in a few.
When Eric Sprouse does his pirate accent, it sounds like a lumberjack had sex with an Irishman, and their baby tried doing a Scottish accent while eating a turd. Wait, what? When Eric Sprouse comes on the screen, I want to change the channel. But can you have anyone else to host the show? And I'll take anyone. Anyone at all. Eric Sprouse wishes he had that much hair, with all those long locks. I met him at a convention 4 years ago, and he doesn't. Nice job, Kojak. Why don't you and Captain Picard have a drink at the Hair Club for Men?